Socceroos players offside there. But Boyle is the first one to get involved here, so he's on. And then, by definition, Luongo's onside that time. It'll stand. And there we go, the equaliser. And Arnie is delighted.
Get in the box, you score goals. So obviously you can see I'm playing probably a deeper role than normal, and I'm enjoying it. But obviously I saw the time and I thought, get some bodies in the box, and it was close. But yeah, I'm happy with my goal.
The old get out of jail card. Francis Leach, Mel McLaughlin, Walid Ali, welcome to you. Francis, what did you make of the Socceroos' performance last night?
Well, it didn't feel like a friendly because these two teams will no doubt figure considerably in the Asian Cup coming up in January. So they went at it hammer and tongs. But the Socceroos have the same problem that they've had for a considerable period of time now. They keep knocking on the door, but they don't have the keys to open it. There is still no natural goal scorer in that team that is putting their hand up to dominate and make the most of that early possession that they enjoyed, and they had to wait till very last for a guy who didn't get a single minute at the recent World Cup under Van Marwijk to poke home the equaliser. They earned the equaliser, but those problems will remain until we find a natural number 9 who can score regularly for the national team.
So how much of a shift are we now seeing in playing style under Graham Arnold to what was there at the World Cup?
Well, I think that's the philosophy of attacking football is still very much there's a sense of continuity to what Ange Postecoglou brought, and this is the problem that it can produce too, because our fullbacks press up so very high that in that situation Trent Sainsbury was isolated at the back, maybe made the wrong move and got the wrong side of his opponent and conceded that goal. Matt Ryan was superb with that save late on. He's in the form of his life and wouldn't be surprised if he gets a move to a big club in the Premier League maybe next year. But it's that the issue has been that even though we are creating opportunities and Tommy Rogic gets on the ball and he shoots from distance, but he's not playing enough of those passes in to those ahead of him to provide assists. And I think that's the real challenge. 13 shots of the 22 the Socceroos had were from outside the box. And they had 22 shots to 4 in that game. So they're getting into the final third, but Walid and Mel, they just don't know or don't have the technique or ability at the moment to be really ruthless when those opportunities present.
Yeah, statistically, with those numbers inside the box, statistically, a goal is going to come eventually, which obviously didn't happen until the very last second and from a set piece as well. I did think that it seemed a bit more positive, though. I thought Alwar Mobile, there were reasons to be excited. He was obviously, he caused a lot of problems, a lot of energy as well into the attack. Martin Boyle coming on is an interesting one, the new Aussie with the very thick Scottish accent. His dad, the lorry driver, apparently watching from overseas as well. But I see why Graham Arnold he's going to be positive, isn't he, afterwards? But I think it was justifiable in terms of just some. It was even more positive in attack, I guess, from what we saw in the World Cup. And I think those goals will come. Matty Ryan with that incredible save. I know you've got something to say about that as well, Walid. Yeah, but about his performance, which obviously, there's pros and cons. Graham Arnold took responsibility for the goal that they conceded. He said, I've spent so much time worrying about going forward. I'll put my hand up for that one. But I just felt positive about it. Yes, we're not scoring the goals that we should yet, but I do feel they're going to come.
Yeah. The problem that we seem to have is that we're always beginning a new era. And we seem to have this habit of beginning a new era on the eve of major tournaments and then sort of hoping it will work out okay. I saw the seedlings of a really good team. You're right about the final third. We don't have a great finisher. It's not club football. You can't just recruit one. But the counter-attacking flair, all the options from the back third through the middle third up to the final third were exciting.
But then why, and this is something we brought up on this show at the start of the year, why the hell did Football Federation Australia appoint Bernd van Marwijk as the coach to take the Socceroos to the World Cup when Graham Arnold's quite clearly good enough to do the job? Now, he should have had that team at the World Cup, and these issues that we're raising now about starting over again would be much further down the track, and the players who need to play his system and with his philosophy would have had that experience, fortune to fire the World Cup, and we'd be much better prepared.
Possibly, but we would have been absolutely battered at the World Cup, I think.
I feel like that had more to do with Sydney FC as well, and releasing him at the right date, because obviously they didn't want to let him go, but it was okay, you can. But, they all had an arrangement. But, it's a fair point, more time to work on things. You mentioned the fullbacks, maybe they got a little bit too excited, all trying to bomb on at the same time as opposed to, covering.
We had a front five for a while.
We did.
Well, no, but it's important. So basically what he's playing 4-2-3-1, right? And what that does is, interesting, Mas Luongo after the game referred to a back six. Yeah. How often have you heard people refer to as a back six? That's very rare. Right, yes. So what he's basically doing, what 4-2-3-1 ends up doing is you end up having a back six and a front four, and then the midfield becomes a problem, right? So what I'm interested in knowing is, when you've got people like Moy, who is our most creative player, our most creative midfielder, our best on the ball, the best at picking a pass, when you've got him playing so deep, does that put a lot more pressure on the front four to get the job done themselves? And the problem you've got is, because we don't have that natural striker and we don't have these predators who can finish and create from all sorts of positions, your creativity's happening too deep. I would love to see Moy, if he played a 4-3-3, for example, and he had Moy further up the pitch, then you've got the creativity in the dangerous areas, but he's clearly worried about the defence. So he needs to protect that back four, and then you saw why in the way that goal was scored, with Trent Sainsbury being caught really in completely the wrong position, and an offside trap that just simply wasn't set properly.
So the Asian Cup defence starts in January now. We've got a match against Lebanon, the Socceroos, on Tuesday night. A lot of importance around a good result there now on the back of this 1-1 draw that they've really scraped home for in the end, the Socceroos. Mark Milligan is the new captain of the Socceroos. He addressed that after the game last night.
Very, very important. You know, I think I said it before the game. You want to learn while you're winning. Well, we didn't lose tonight, so we'll take that. We get another opportunity to put in a good performance, to work on a few things. As I say, it's a very short time. I think it's only a month and a half away now. So we need to, we need to work hard in the next couple of days, getting ready for Tuesday.
So in light of Tuesday night's clash and the comments there from Mark Milligan, we have the farewell match now for one of the greats of all time, Tim Cahill. But is it what we need at the moment, Tim Cahill's farewell match, or is it actually a really good performance that the Socceroos need to put together and start to gel this team together before the Asian Cup defence?
They need to play well in this game and feel like they're building some momentum. The Cahill situation, look, he'll come and play some minutes, but I think it'll be the most modest of cameos. And there's a fair argument, Mel, don't you think, that he's entitled to that? But I also accept the argument that, hang on a sec, no one should be gifted an opportunity or a cap for the national team. So it's a difficult balance for Football Federation Australia to strike.
It is, but he was at least involved in the national squad just a few months ago with the World Cup. A little bit different to some other ones or another player that you may mention. But yeah, absolutely, he's a fan favourite. He's been there forever. He's got the records. He's so loved. He's been the big game player. He's brought so much joy to so many people, and he's not going to be starting, is he?
No.
And with respect, the opposition, there's a reason why he didn't have his cameo against South Korea last night. It's a different level of competition. I say this with respect.
Yeah, it's different to Wayne Rooney, who hadn't played for 2 years. The other big story surrounding football at the moment occurring off the field, of course, and tomorrow the FFA board positions. 4 of them are going to be announced, Francis, and a lot of talk around those that are vying. Craig Foster was in the mix, withdrew his candidacy. What have you made of the machinations behind the scenes?
I've spoken to a number of the candidates over the last week, and from some of them there's a sense of disappointment that football has reverted to type, that even though there's a change in the structure around the Congress that's going to elect these 4 board positions, that it's become factionalised again in a different way. It's just reconstituted, and the same level of factionalism and horse trading is going on, which is locking certain candidates out. There's a sense that the A-League clubs are really asserting themselves here, which was always going to be the case. So there's 100 votes on the table from the Congress to elect these board positions. With the A-League clubs, they have 29 plus 2 from the W League, so 31 in total, and they are really pushing hard to try to control the process. And they have made it very difficult for a number of candidates who are seen to be a threat to their hegemony, in a sense. That there are a number of candidates who wanted to push for a pathway to 2 divisions and for the idea of relegation and promotion, which would threaten the investment that these A-League clubs, many of whom are owned by overseas interests. So we're talking about non-Australians actually having an important role in the future of the Australian game. They're protecting, and you can understand, their investment by saying, hey, we're not necessarily happy with that at all. We don't want promotion and relegation. And so we've got this situation very quickly off the back of what was supposed to be a reform process, where we're once again stuck in a knife fight of factionalism within the sport, which could, paralyse it again, but in a different way.
And Mel, Craig Foster was a key supporter of promotion and relegation, and the fans were right behind him. They love Craig Foster. The idea that he's no longer part of it. Will there be a degree of cynicism around any board now that is appointed, or those positions that are appointed to FFA?
I think there would be anyway. I find working in football or being known as a football type person, it's like football's like a family member where someone asks you about what is happening over there and you just kind of want to make it okay. Oh, you know, it's okay, just going through a few things. But there's no doubt that we need the football people, but we need the business people as well. But I don't know if it's going to be same old, unfortunately.
If it gets too tight, there are other ways of deciding these things. We saw in the Women's Super League in England recently, a referee didn't bring a coin to the coin toss and went for a little bit of rock, paper, scissors instead. David McNamara, for not having his coin, he's been suspended for 21 days.
That's caused a bit of outrage as well, and a lot of the referees at grassroots level in England in protest are doing scissors, paper, rock or stone. In England they're saying scissors, paper, stone. They're doing that in protest.
He made a rookie error, Mel. It should have been best of three. Anyone knows that when you play scissors, paper, rock.
That's the actual point.
If you want to talk fan engagement, that is surely a more exciting way of determining who wins the toss than actually flipping a coin, isn't it?
Well, what about some other methods? What else could David McNamara have done? A bit of eeny, meeny, miny, mo, maybe draw straws?
Sure.
I don't mind the thumb wrestle.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
the thumb wrestle's got a bit of skill involved. Could you imagine making your captain the best thumb wrestler in the squad?
Great TV.
It would be incredible.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, if you've got cameras up close, then I think it would be great. A sport before a sport.
Final observations, Francis?
Well, the EGM is happening, the AGM for Football Federation Australia for tomorrow for those 4 board appointments. But at the same time, it's a board meeting that won't address the one outstanding issue that has run on all year. What's happening with expansion? What is the decision around which 2 clubs are coming in? They can't play in next season now. It's gone. There is no pathway now at the moment that's been laid out for all of those who have bid, and I don't think that's good enough.
Mel?
The Matildas, congratulations to them. They lost to Chile, fought back 5-0, of course, in that second game, so they kept number 6 in the world, which will be great for the Women's World Cup draw.
Waleed?
Massive week in the Premier League. VAR will be introduced from next season, which I predict will disappoint a lot of people who think it's going to solve all their problems. But also they appointed a new chief executive. Her name is Susanna Dinenage. So a female, one of the most powerful people in sport, has entirely, though, a TV background, not a sport background. And I think that's interesting for what it says about what the Premier League thinks it is and what its priorities are going to be.
Thanks to our panel today, Francis, Mel and Waleed.